All right. Oh, I should have organized this before I clicked record. Please hold. This video, I had to get my life together. Okay. One can only hope. This video is going to be my reading plans for 2025. This is probably going to be quite a short video because I am not going to, other than the physical books that I have here in front of me, it's maybe 10 to 12 of them. Everything else, I know I'm smacking my lips. My mouth is really dry. 1 second. A lot of talking and your mouth gets so dry. I am no longer, I didn't do this too much in 2024. I did do it in 2024. I was like, these are the books I want to get through. Still didn't get through all of them. So now 10 to 12 books, must reads. Everything else I'm winging it. But I have some things percolating in the back of my mind. So what I'm going to do in this video, as I'm going over what I plan to read in 2025, I'm going to say these are the books that if I don't read anything else, this is what I'm reading. Everything else, I'm winging it, but this is where my mind is going. I am not setting, I didn't do this in 2024. I did not set I must read this number of books in a year. What does that prove? It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't have any indication of what the quality of my reading was. Not that I think there's anything wrong with setting numerical goals. That's a different type of challenge and it's kind of fun in its own right, in its own way, but no numerical goals over here. I'm done with that. For me, I'm just going to see what I can realistically accomplish in a year and just see how my reading organically goes, right? I think that's fun in its own way and it takes a pressure off the reading, especially as life changes. So let's just jump into this video. I don't want to belabor it. Let's see where my mind is going in 2025. In no particular order, Dr. Zhivago. This is going to be a buddy read. I'm going to be reading this in February with my friend Joanne. I've been wanting to read this book for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to it. I love Russian lit. I really do. One of my favorites. And this is a classic. I mean, Dr. Zhivago, definitely getting read. It's already planned for February. I would really like to read both of these Vigdis Hjorth novels, Is Mother Dead and If Only. And the only reason why I picked these particular two books of hers, she has quite a few others that are published in English, she is a Norwegian author, is because I picked these up on some trips that I went on in 2024. I like to pick up books from places I visit and keep the receipt in the back of the book as a little memento. Like, oh, I remember when I bought that book, I was with my friend, And these were the books this was the only Vigdis Hjorth that was in a bookstore in LA. I was at Venice Beach. Actually, there's this really cool bookstore in Venice Beach in LA. If you are in that neck of the woods or you're visiting, oh my gosh, what was the name of it? Actually, the name of it is in a different book. But Venice Beach, there's a bookstore out there. Venice Beach. Not my cup of tea. It was a little sketchy. My California viewers, I'm sorry. California is not for me. Fun to visit, not my style. Specifically Southern California. Food was amazing. Not my vibe. I was like, where am I? I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I have friends who live out there, but for me, it's a place to visit and not a place to live. Especially Southern California. I need more variation in my weather. Anyway, but if only I got in Durham, North Carolina, visiting one of my best friends who lives there. And this was the only Vigdis Hjorth that they had in stock. But I knew she was an author I'd been eyeballing for at least a year. So I would like to get through both of these in 2025. Because also I hauled these in 2024 and I want to get through a decent amount of books that I hauled last year. So that's another thing before I get into these other books. If you want to know Alana, what are you planning to read in 2025? Watch my books I hauled in 2024, what I purchased in 2024. If I can remember, I'll link that video down below. And those are books that I'm going to be considering as I'm picking and choosing what I want to read in 2025. Another book that is an absolute must is the Books of Jakob. I actually am going to be, again, buddy reading this with my friend Joanne and starting this in June and then reading it at our own pace as the book dictates. I've been curious about this book since it was published in English a couple years ago now. This book won her the Nobel Prize for Literature. So I am excited about this. Really excited about this massive Polish door stopper. I'm not planning to do Much rereading. Sorry, I know I touch my hair a lot in my videos. It's just a sensory thing. I also, it's just there. And anyway, I'm not planning to do a lot of rereading in 2025. I didn't do much rereading in 2024. The reason is because I know that my reading is not going to be quantity-wise what it was 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, where I'm able to knock out 50 plus books in a year. That's just not feasible for me at this moment in life, and that's fine. But so I want to not reread so much right now, even though there are books I do really want to reread. I'm just focusing on getting things off my physical TBR. But one book that I really, really want to reread is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. And the reason why is because my friend Cherise read it for the first time towards the end of 2024, and she was like, this book is intense, it's dense, it has all of the elements of Gothic literature that you find in Gothic literature, Victorian Gothic literature, but also there's some typical Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre-esque things in this book. But this, in my opinion, as even though Jane Eyre is my favorite book of all time, this is actually Charlotte's best work, and it needs a review, and I want to review it, and I want to reread it because Charlotte wrote this book. All her siblings had passed away at this point. She was one of four. And so at this point, all of her siblings had passed away, and it's very, very evident that Charlotte was grieving heavily. And it's a long book. It's a dense book. It's very Charlotte. It's kind of preachy at some points, but again, she is grieving and you can tell it in the pages, in the ending. And this is one of those books, the more you sit with it, the better it gets. You finish it and you're like, what did I just read? Especially the ending. You're like, what? Really, Charlotte? Who hurt you? I read this, when I first read this book in 2020, I was like, who hurt you, Charlotte? She was grieving. She was sad. She might have been depressed, actually. There's something beautiful about that, though, in this book. I want to read this, and I want to do a long, detailed review on it. You can even tell the first time I read it, quite a few notes. So I really want to give Villette some time in 2025. I would have started this book as of the recording. By the time this video goes live, I would have already started it. The Idiot by Dostoevsky. I wanted to read this book in 2024, and I would have started it in 2024. So I would have started it around just a few days before Christmas. But this is the book that's carrying me into 2025. I had predicted this to be one of my top reads of 2024. Didn't finish it in time, didn't start it in time. So I'm predicting this to be one of my top reads of 2025. And again, my friend Cherise, hey girl, she as of the recording of this video, is currently reading this, and she was sending me messages like, Alana, you're gonna love this. And so, I love Dostoevsky. And Alyosha is my favorite brother in The Brothers Karamazov, and so the main character here, Mishkin, is very much like him. So yeah. But as of the recording of this video, I would have already started this. Continuing the Game of Thrones with the third installment, A Storm of Swords, Chunker. Really excited to read this because the first two Game of Thrones, I have reviews on them, and I had already read both of those. I am now in uncharted territory. I don't know what's finna happen. I don't know what's finna go down. Girl and my guy, you girl don't know. Ma'ams and sirs, I have no idea what's fitting to happen because I haven't watched the show. I'm going in blind. Pray for me. But I'm hype because people say that the third one is their favorite. As I was perusing my shelves and thinking to myself, what's something that's a wild card that's been sitting on my shelf for some time, but I have heard good things, but I don't hear a lot of things about it. New Grub Street by George Gissing. This is shabby London Victorian times. I think this was probably, was this published during the Victorian era, or was this published, I want to say, for my brain is telling me Edwardian. 1891 is straddling some fences. So yes, so we're actually probably straddling the lines we're straddling the lines, we're heading into Edwardian England. but New Grub Street. I looked at my shelf and I was like, I want to read that. I like grunge. I like dark. I like edgy. I like heavy hitting. Let's pull this off the shelf and read it. That edition is out of print, by the way. That's the Penguin English Library edition, out of print. Another book that I looked at my shelf and I was like, I need to knock this off my physical TBR. It's been sitting there too long. The Seventh Cross. It is translated from the German, and it is a World War II novel thriller. Okay. And it's considered one of the most influential novels of the 20th century. It's a hair-raising thriller. I'm reading off the back. And you have these, it's Nazi Germany, and am I allowed to say Nazi? It's Nazi Germany. It's World War II. This was first published in 1942. And we have political prisoners who have escaped a camp, and they're being chased. I'm like, I need to read this. I need to read this. I need to get this off my list. I have a collection of Dostoevsky short stories here. A Bad Business, Essential Stories, published and curated by Pushkin Press. The short stories in this one are A Bad Business, Conversations in a Graveyard, A Meat Creature, The Crocodile, The Heavenly Christmas Tree, and The Peasant Mari. I've heard, one of my friends has read this, Christy, and she was like, this is actually low-key funny. Train. So I've had this sitting on my shelf now since 2023, I want to say, and it's about time I crossed this off the list. So this will probably be, so The Idiot in this, that'll be my Dostoevsky, and I do actually want to squeeze in White Nights by Dostoevsky, because that's a very slim volume. Last on the physical list, and then I have a little list typed here before my computer dies, of where my brain is going. Before I get into that, the fourth installment of the Outlander series, Drums of Autumn. Again, I have reviews on books 1, 2, and 3 of the Outlander series, and those were rereads. This is, again, like I am with Game of Thrones, I'm in uncharted territory with this one. I have no idea what's about to go down. Very vaguely do I know. I haven't watched the show past season 2. Because I was like, nah, I gotta read the book first. I'm that person. I'm also distancing myself from the show because I want the show characters to remain the show characters, and I want the book character. I'm not trying to mesh the two together. So I am just living in lit world with Outlander for now. So this is uncharted territory for me. I have no idea what's about to happen. I just know that they're in the colonies. That's it. So I'm excited. So definitely got to knock out the fourth Outlander, Drums of Autumn. Now, I am definitely going to read, I just don't have it physically right now. I'll purchase it as I'm about to read it, when I'm getting ready to read it, is Elena Ferrante's third installment for the Neapolitan Quartet. I can't even remember what the title of that book is called off the top of my head. It's not The Story of a New Name, because I just read that one. It's the third one. So there's that. Septology by Jean Fossa. I really, really want to read that. But again, I'm not going to purchase it until I think, yeah, I'm really going to read that. That's an 800-page book. The edition that I want, the Fitzcarraldo edition. And I already have some thick books on this list. Books of Jacob, massive. Game of Thrones, long. Drums of Autumn, long. Dr. Zhivago, not short, 500 pages. Villette, long. So I would like to read Septology, though. Morning and Evening by Jan Fossa is only 100 and something pages long. The Fitzcarraldo edition, I really want to read that. I really want to read Kafka. I have read Kafka. I have read Metamorphosis, and the Metamorphosis, and that's it. That I read that in high school. It was required reading. I really want to reread it as an adult. I haven't read it since. And so actually my brother asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And so I said, I sent him a collection of Kafka short stories that include the Metamorphosis. And I also, this is on this list, Animal Farm. I have read Animal Farm. I haven't read it since I was 13. It was required school reading, but I want to read it as an adult. And it's a short novel. Again, I'm starting to sandwich these shorter stories, shorter novels in between the 500, 600, 700, 800 page books. I really want to reread Animal Farm. Wait, didn't I just say I'm not doing a whole lot of rereading?
scratch that, because I have Kafka's Metamorphosis, The Animal Farm, Animal Farm, and Of Mice and Men. I want to read another Steinbeck this year. Steinbeck, Of Mice and Men. Again, very, very short though. I can knock that out in a few sittings. I read Of Mice and Men in high school. Again, required reading, and I want to read it again through the lenses of an adult. And I have this here before I wrap up. Not Of Mice and Men. Sorry. The Wind Up Bird Chronicle by, oh my gosh, Murakami. I'm getting hungry. I wanted to read a Murakami in 2024. Didn't get around to it. But I always knew after I finished QT84 that the next Murakami that I would want to read would be Wind Up Bird Chronicle. So if I can get to it, that will be the one that I would like to read. I don't own it physically yet. I know what edition I want. But again, I'm not going to purchase that until I'm sure, I'm going to be able to get to this book. Those are my reading plans for 2025. Reading off my physical TBR, there's no fluff in this list at all. I'm not feeling the fluff. But I think I'm going to have a really, really good reading year in 2025. I always have good reading years, but this is going to be a really dense reading year, but I'm looking forward to it. What are you planning to read this year? And what's, if you can, I'm stuttering because I'm getting tired. I've been talking for over 2 hours nonstop, recording videos. If you don't read anything else in 2025, or, if you could only read one book, what would it be? Leave me a comment down below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram, where I get up to more bookish shenanigans. Post all of my book content there first. And I like to post the occasional goofy reel and meme in the Instagram stories. So with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye. I think I said that with my eyes closed because I'm tired. I'll see you later. Bye.